Eco TV listeners, viewers, both at home and abroad, good afternoon to some of you who are out there because of the time difference, and good evening to others. My name is Larry Sise. I'm back again this Thursday with my friend and colleague Lamin Mani for our usual Thursday podcast on issues affecting our country. Today's podcast is going to focus on three things. The first thing is to give a synopsis of the UDP's leadership retreat at the Caraba Beach Hotel. The second issue is the SEPRA's opinion poll. We cannot go into the details of the poll, but we'll give you a summary of its findings. And the third issue is the UDP's 5-point agenda, number 4, which is public health security, pandemic containment, and social protection. This 5-point agenda number 4 has 9 components, but all 9 components have changed in a very drastic way. Change not for the better, but deterioration in the provision of social service. So we'll try to summarize the 9 items under this heading into 3 core areas of how the healthcare system has collapsed, the lack of resources and equipment in the healthcare system, and the issue of staffing and staff emoluments and incentives for those who are working day and night to make the health sector vibrant for Gambians. Lamin, say hello to your listeners.
Thank you very much, Larry, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening to our friends out there who listen to us every week. We thank you for your patience with us and for inviting us into your homes. You've become family now, and thank you for that. Thank you for being loyal to this TV station, which, as the slogan says, is the people's choice. Thank you for being here with us and for lending us your ears every week. Thank you.
Good. Lamin, as I said, UDP had a retreat last week. Mm-hmm. I think it was on Monday and Tuesday.
Sunday and Monday.
Yeah. It was good to see almost 500 of our colleagues from the wards, the constituencies and the districts. Yeah. All the leaders in those areas have converged on Caraba Beach Hotel to talk about our party and how to conduct ourselves in the best interest of the country.
Right.
There are some people that I saw I haven't seen for ages.
Yes.
And for me, that was the eclipse of the retreat. People that you haven't seen for 20, 30 years, and then all of a sudden walks up to you and say, "Hey, you," you know. It was a good show of organization and agility of the party in mobilizing its base. Yeah. And I think for me that is the best takeaway.
There you and Lamino.
Yes.
You just showed you and Lamino there.
Yes.
On the screen.
On the screen. That's for me, that's the best takeaway I came up with this thing. If I start naming all these names all over the country that I have not seen,
it would take up the whole program.
For the whole program. But it was good for UDP to organize this thing, and it shows the party's agility on the ground.
Absolutely.
In terms of how we can mobilize our base to act in the best interest of the country.
Right.
I'll let you summarize the rationale behind the retreat and the outcome of the retreat.
Right. Thank you very much, Larry. And it was good, as you say, to have this family reunion, because it was a family reunion for the UDP. We brought all these structures together as we said, from the village, ward, constituency, and regional level and national level. Plus, of course, with other parties who are not directly in the structures, but who are key players in the party and who have a very strong voice in the party and who are also important stakeholders. That's why we wanted to make sure that everybody was on the same page and that we are all in marching orders now for the 2026 elections, December 5th. It was important to have everybody on board and to exchange ideas and to see how we move forward. So we wanted to keep this as a family reunion, and that's why we deliberately did not invite the press, because we don't want any performance. We don't want any distraction. We don't want anything that would make some people maybe get too excited. We are going to be on TV and the rest. We wanted to keep this a family reunion where we sit together and have a good chat and chart the way forward to 2026, 5th December. It was very good also in the sense that not only we have as I said, the current structures of the party, the stalwarts who are not in the structure, the stakeholders, but also the founding fathers were also brought in to say that the UDP, as I said, is a family, and we do not forget anybody, we do not leave anybody on the side. Everybody is included. That's the inclusivity we have in the UDP. These were the people who set the trend. These were the people who laid the foundation for UDP, and then they handed it over to the next generation. So it is important to see all of those people there. And although we don't want to name names, but we had people like Alhaji Sane, and Sundin Keita, my big brother Ibu Mane, Amadou Tal, Bunjak, Aji Amsek is still in the structures, but these other people are advising on the periphery, but they're equally important because they have a very strong voice, a wealth of experience, a wealth of knowledge, and huge love for this party and country. So they were all brought in to have a discussion, a frank discussion, a discussion where we could take the country forward and prepare for the next elections. We know 2026, 5th December is going to be challenging. We know that the government, as the Adamaro said, he will throw money at these elections.
They are already throwing money at this.
Exactly.
So.
Yes, and when people tell you who they are and what they're going to do, you better believe them. So we believe him. We know they're going to do that, but we're going to stop it having any nefarious effect on the elections. We know that we are giving IEC the benefit of the doubt, but we are still remaining vigilant because once bitten, twice shy. And we have been bitten so many times, so we are being careful, we are being cautious, we're checking everything. And some of the things we are seeing on the ground currently, particularly in terms of registration, are not very reassuring. So again, we're going to engage IEC on that, to the Inter-Party Committee and other structures, to tell them that we will not let anything pass this time. And the registration is going to come, the supplementary registration. After that, if we need to, we'll go to revising courts this time. We won't let anything slide. So we needed to put all of that in perspective. We needed to discuss a number of things concerning the party, its readiness for the elections, and what we're going to do to safeguard our election results, election integrity, because there is no way we're going to allow anybody to cheat us out of our victory again. And we are convinced that we're going to have victory in 2026. On the 5th of December by 8 o'clock, inshallah, it will be Usainu Dawo to the State House. So we were putting in place our different strategies and structures and policies and programs because we wanted to get that out of the way. But also, once we get to power, how do we move quickly with the low-hanging fruits? So these are some of the things we discussed. But again, there is much more to it than that. But the other parts, we will just keep quiet because those were part of the family discussions. So we wouldn't dilate on those. But yes, this was the rationale behind the whole thing. And it's important to have everybody there. People who are mobilizing at the grassroots level, people who are doing the policy thinking, people who are doing the implementation, people who are doing the information collection and feedback, So all sorts of people were there. As we said, we had 500 people from the structures, plus the stakeholders and key personalities and thinkers, etc., in the party who were part of the whole network. We brought everybody on board. So, and the party leader gave a very rousing speech of about half an hour where he charted the course for a number of things. And of course we had the wonderful Haji Suwane who translated that into those local languages. The guy is amazing.
Haji was trending on social media.
Haji is an asset for our party. Man, that guy, I doff my hat to him. Haji stands there and just goes into Mandinka, Wolof, Fula, Sarahule, flawlessly.
And the way he captured the issues also, for not writing any notes.
Exactly. You know, I did interpretation, so I know what it's like to be able to remember all of those things and say it. Haji doesn't take notes. And this is what we call in interpretation consecutive interpreting. And consecutive usually would take notes. Haji doesn't take notes. He just sits there. It's like a sponge. He imbibes it all. And he gives it back with humor, with, you know, oh gosh. That guy is an asset to the UDP and the country.
He's phenomenal.
You know, so anyway, Haji, I doff my hat to you.
Yep.
But the party
I
leader...
told him in person, I said, you know what?
Yeah.
You are a phenomenal figure
Exactly.
in the scheme of things for this party. And he just humbly laughed and says, hey, Uncle Larry Moy.
Yeah, this guy is a polyglot.
He's
in addition to all those local languages, he speaks, of course, English. He speaks French.
Yeah.
He speaks Arabic.
Yeah.
UDP, we are lucky.
Haji actually is the epitome of UDP's youths.
Exactly.
I mean, these guys are focused. They know their stuff.
Yeah.
They are respectful in their discourse.
Yeah.
And more importantly, they know their subject matter.
They know their subject matter and they are humble about it.
It's incredible.
You know, we had one of our friends come all the way from Paris.
Yeah.
Mimi. Mimi came all the way from Paris just for this retreat.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I saw her, I said,
there are many more like that.
You came? He said, yes, I came all the way for this retreat. I'm going back immediately after the retreat. He went back immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mboj Sedikan and the diaspora colleagues were all there. Mboj, Musa Jammeh, and you know, I don't want to name because I'll forget some of them. Kulim Jum, you know. So yeah, that was it. So we had all of those people, you know. Because that is the UDP. So we are ready. We are ready for these elections, and we're telling this government, you're gonna be given what you paid for and what you asked for. You're gonna face an opposition that is determined, that is going to win, and that will not let anything slide because we have been there. We've seen what it's like. Although we want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, we put our house in order and we are ready for all eventualities. So, Adama Barrow, 5th December, we're coming for you. We'll vote you out and we'll replace you to say no that way because the Gambians deserve a change, deserve something different. We are tired. The corruption, the mismanagement, the embezzlement is killing this country.
The impunity.
The impunity, the tribal politics, the divisive politics. All of that is killing this country, and the Gambians deserve better. And we will get to the separate polls, what it says about all of that too, which we know from our countrywide tour. But you know, we will go to separate polls as well, and we'll.
It's actually a good point to transition into the separate poll.
Okay.
What you said about President Barrow and his transactional incentive-based politics, divisive ethnic politics. You know, the other day I saw him on TV, he was talking to Fullers. He said, my mother is a Fuller. My mother is Jalo, my wife is Ba. I will never let Fullers down.
Isn't that unfortunate?
So, this coming from a head of state.
Yeah.
And it's the biggest weapon Barrow has used and continue to use in Gambian politics, this ethnic divide.
And it's going to be the biggest liability for him in 2026.
Yes, I think it will be a liability for him. But I think there are people out there who actually relish him saying that.
Yes, yes.
Because if you look at the comment section, you look at what people like Mbalo has said about this is a fuller government.
Yeah.
You begin to realize that this is Yahya Jammeh too.
Yahya Jammeh on steroids.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is actually worse than Yahya Jammeh
Yeah.
in terms of how you weaponize ethnicity in the various structures of the country.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's up to Gambians now
Yeah.
to tell him, no, President Barrow,
We are better than that.
we are better than that.
Yeah.
We will not accept that, and we will not make that our defining moment in this country.
Yeah.
So back to the CIPRA's opinion poll. It's interesting, I mean, how this opinion poll, when it came out, there was a headline in a newspaper that says Barrow is going to win the election.
Yeah.
Now, this is what you get when news outlets are literally bought to do the bidding of a ruling party.
Yeah.
Because that headline missed the point completely.
And the chart they've put up on the
Yes,
screen there,
yes.
we will get to this because this says a lot. Yeah.
This is actually what prompted us to come and talk about this thing.
Right.
Because that particular headline and the rest of the social media platforms just picked up from that, because they would post something that they want to post and attribute it to that newspaper. And
we
it's
can't be
unfortunate.
surprised because this is the government that paid $40 million to those media houses to do their bidding.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll get to that.
We are going to just highlight the key findings of this CIPRA's opinion poll, CIPRA's opinion poll, and we'll break it down for you as simply as we possibly can. It is full of information. I don't think we're going to have the time to dissect it the way we could have dissected it, but we will highlight the key points and some of the weaknesses and shortcomings of the survey.
Yeah.
Now let's start with the survey says that 58% of Gambians surveyed said Barrow's performance is worse than previous leaders. 58% of Gambians surveyed says this president's performance is worse than the other two predecessors. 69% says they do not trust him to act in the best interest of the country. A whooping 2/3 of those surveyed said they do not trust this president to act in the country's best interest.
Yeah.
And I think this shouldn't be surprising to most people. When you look at the discourse on social media, on other areas, people keep saying Barrow is there for himself. Barrow is working with his cabal. Barrow is working with, how do you call it, this group that is close to him. 58% says his performance is worse than Jawara and Jammeh. 69% says they don't trust him to act in the best interest of the country. 60% are dissatisfied with his handling of the economy. 60%. 66%.
Job creation.
Yes. 66% says they are not happy with his job creation promises. And 56% disapprove of his overall job performance. So this president, the writing is on the wall.
Yeah.
We keep telling Gambians that Barrow hasn't delivered the promises that he gave Gambians in 2016, 2017. He hasn't kept the promises he gave Gambians in the 2021 elections. It is clear across the board, the performance, the trust or the lack of trust, the poor economic performance. All of this when you put all of them together, it validates what we've been saying for 3 years now, to say Barrow has 3 strategies to win this 2026 election. Strategy 1 is to buy the elections. Strategy 2 is to rig the elections. Strategy 3 is to get defeated and he refuses to step down, and we have something like the impasse that happened in December 2016. Nobody can dispute these numbers. The government has responded and they've tried to give explanations for each of these items. But you know what? These are incontrovertible because these are the opinions of Gambians that have been talked to. And we need to call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
We need to call a spade a spade. There is the best indicator for this survey is for people to say, oh, I forgot, they also say a large percentage of respondents say a third term, I think it's about 60%.
84%.
84% said a third term is bad for our democracy.
Yeah.
A third term is bad for our democracy.
Yeah.
So 58% says worse performance than the previous one. 68% says third term bad for our democracy. 69% don't trust him to act in the country's best interest. 60% are dissatisfied with his handling of the economy. And I think 66% are dissatisfied with his job creation for the youth.
Yeah.
And 56% disapprove of his overall performance.
Right.
These are devastating numbers. In a functioning democracy, this would have actually prompted him to bow out of this election.
Yeah.
But we know he's not going to do that.
And in addition to that, 66% say that his handling of corruption in this country is poor.
It's poor.
Meaning 66% believe that he is aiding and abetting corruption in this country. Right? 58% think that, is it 58 or 52%? Is it 52%? Yeah, 52% say they don't believe that he's going to protect election integrity in this country. Meaning,
52%.
in very clear terms, mean 52% think that he's going to try and steal the elections.
Yes.
That says a lot for one president. So when you look at that litany of poor figures for him, in spite of the flaws of this survey, it has very, very good information that we should all look at as political parties. We may or may not agree with certain aspects, or we may or may not challenge the methodology and the sampling, the representative sampling that was done, but some very important figures came out of this survey, and we need to look at it. And I think more importantly also, that part that people have probably looked at very, not very in the proper light, is that what it says is that 34% think that they will vote for him.
Yeah, 34%.
But 35% say that they will vote for UDP. But that did not come out.
Yeah.
That did not come out, and it's been missed by a number of people. Some tell you, no, it's 38% of the 60%. No. It's 35% of the people who actually said they would vote for UDP.
They will vote for UDP.
And you have the other parties in the opposition which come up again. Because if I took some of those figures down, if I may just go to my notes just to remind the viewers, what they said is that 35% of the respondents said they would vote for UDP. A whopping 14% say they don't know who they're going to vote for. These are the people who are not decided at all. They're undecided. Another 8% said they would not say who they would vote for.
Yeah.
So that is only 22% of the population that they surveyed who said either they don't know who they would vote for or they wouldn't say who they're going to vote for. After that, you have 11% took no to alliance.
Yeah, 11%.
11% of the respondents said they would vote for no to alliance, which is very significant, as opposed to only 3% for Fabakary Tombonjata's APRC allied with Barrow. Only 3% go to that party. But 11% go to no to APRC, no to Alliance. That's virtually 4 times what Fabakary from Bonjata has walked away with. Again, DOI, 8%, according to this survey. GDC, 4%. AVP Sobeya, 6%. UMC, 7% according to that. But these are where you have discrepancies within the survey itself. So another part, UMC is credited with 2%.
2%, yeah.
Etc. So these are some of the flaws in the system. They will tell you it's a question of interpretation. We're talking about the people who said they would not vote for Barrow, but actually the reality is that it's not the people who said they're not going to vote for Barrow, it's the people who serve it. So there are those discrepancies between the system, in the system.
In the survey?
Yeah, in the survey, which need to be clarified, okay? They will tell you, no, what we did is actually, we said that 60% said they would vote for the opposition. Is that 60% that we broke that? And I have doubts about that. I don't quite agree with that approach. My approach is a survey getting a different set of results, because the questions you ask can be leading and can be misinterpreted or misunderstood by the people surveyed. Again, talking of the flaws, they took a sample of 1,245 people. How representative is that for a country of 2.5 million? With an unsophisticated electorate in terms of election polling. If you had a certain level of electoral awareness and exposure to this kind of phenomenon, the survey and the sampling could be a smaller amount and it could still have a very good result. But when you have the kind of population we have in the Gambia, essentially illiterate, not exposed to this sort of procedures and processes, your margin for error is so much higher when you take a lower sample in the country. This would have been much more reliable if you took a higher sample, at least 25–30% of the 25–30,000 minimum to do a credible survey. So, and then you can bring out the different population segments. You don't just go throw it out there, because then you can look at what are the women saying? What are the women under 25 saying? What are the women in the urban areas saying? What are the women in employment saying? What are the farmers saying, particularly now that they can even sell their groundnuts? What are the youth saying who are going the back way and dying there? You know? What are the urban men saying? What are the civil servants? Then you can break it down into much more understandable and credible components and subcomponents. But this is a snapshot. So we all take some information from it, and we look at where we have strengths and weaknesses, and we work on that, and we will. But that does not stop us calling out the flaws in the system. In this sort of survey, you will have also answers being influenced by the people's mentality and mindset. We have lived in a 22-year period of autocracy in this country, where people were scared, were bullied, were just made to be scared of everything. So some people did not answer today. That's why you have what percentage said would not say? 8% said they wouldn't say. 14% said they don't know, because people have been scared in the past of talking about anything. So they don't want to say anything, or they would say things they think would make them look good, because they don't know whether this service can be used against them later. All of those are flaws in the system. Plus, of course, the fact that when you have a survey of this nature, you also have to take into account people's cultural and religious leanings. A number of people particularly in the rural areas, will tell you, oh, we don't vote against government. Okay, so they will say this, which is why when you look at the intention to vote, because it would have been much more easy and clear-cut if you ask people, who are you going to vote for? And give them a list of candidates if you wish. But they said to them, who are you going to vote for? In that segment, Barrow got 34% only.
Yeah.
somebody who said he had 54% virtually in 2021 is down to 34, which means a 20% drop over 5 years. Even in spite of the flaws of this survey, he dropped by 20%.
That is huge.
That's huge. That's almost 45% drop. But they went around afterwards and said, who do you think is going to win? The perception.
Yeah.
Because the intent and the perception are different.
Two different things.
And they can't have totally different, because there comes in the people's, oh, you know, I'm not going to vote for him, but you know, these guys, they will always steal elections, so they will win. There is that side to it, which is why we keep telling people, don't buy that. Go and vote. If you don't vote, they will win, because they will vote. If you go vote against them, you will win. So we'll amplify that message even more to people, because that's what the perception tells us. We will not vote for him. Only 34%, according to this survey, in spite of his flaws, only 34% say they would vote for him. But 46% say their perception is that he will win, which means even though I won't vote for him, I think he will steal the elections. Yeah. And that comes out in election integrity. What is it? 52% say they don't think he will.
Don't think he
the
can
election integrity will be there. So you have all of those flaws in this system. But Larry, another point I want to bring out here, I noted that down, so I'll go to my notes for that. And I think this is extremely important. The part where SEPRAS broke it down by region. Yeah. That is revealing. That was very telling. You know, the regional distribution of this survey. For Banjul, of all places, 47% said they will not vote for Barrow. Yeah. Only 20% say they will vote for him.
Vote for him in Banjul.
In Banjul. In West Coast region, 25% say they would vote for him. And 57% say they will vote for others.
They will vote for others.
Which is more than double.
Yeah. That of Banjul.
No, 57 to 25, more than twice the people who express themselves will not vote for him.
Yes, but that's one of the anomalies of this survey. If you look at the regional results compared to the global result that they say,
exactly,
you see a serious disconnect between the
discrepancy is huge.
Yeah, the discrepancy is huge.
But if you look at it, 57% in West Coast say they will vote against him. Yeah. Only 25% say they will vote for him. Yeah. Whereas in the last election, 2021, he said he won West Coast region. Yeah. And we are saying it's not true. It's electoral fraud. It comes out very clearly here. Yeah. More than twice of the, of the people polled will say they will not vote him compared to who will vote for him. That was West Coast region. Now, you go to KMC, only 24% say they will vote for him, 49 will vote against him. Yeah. Again, double. 25, 49, virtually 50%, but against him. LRR, there is interesting because he seemed to have pulled it off in LRR with 58% and 36% for the opposition. And I have my doubts about that, but okay, let's just take the figures. URR, there he had 67 as opposed to 28 for the opposition. CRR South, that's Janjambure. Yeah. There he had 73%, that's huge, compared to 16 for the opposition. CRR North, 65, 32. But NBR, he lost again, 44 to 49.
Yeah. And this fits the pattern.
Yes, so which means he wins 4 and the opposition wins 4. Yeah. But the interesting part is that the areas where you have the largest concentration of populations is where he lost. Yeah. Yeah. West Coast region is 43% of the Gambian population.
Population lives in West Coast.
And 57% of that say they're going to vote against him. If he loses in West Coast by that margin, he loses the election nationally. Yeah. Right? KMC is the next biggest one. KMC, again, 25 to 49. So if the opposition wins those 2 strongholds, those 2 voter banks, they win the election.
You see...
and then you add NBR and Banjul.
Yes. For me, when I looked at this regional breakdown, I laughed, but at the same time, I was saddened by it.
Yeah.
because CRR North is actually potentially where cross-border voting
Exactly. I was going to get to that.
is intensified.
Yes, yes.
CRR South also,
Yeah.
cross-border voting is intensified there. And it starts from CRR South all the way to LRR.
Actually, from URR.
Yes.
All the way down to LRR.
Yes.
So these are the areas where you have the cross-border voting, where you have people crossing from Casamas to come and vote.
And it is concentrated.
And it's
That's why the
there.
numbers are so high.
Exactly. And this is the other thing, the other phenomenon that we're seeing. So in the areas where he seems to have won are the areas where we have the cross-border voting of people of non-Gambian origin who come in to vote or who are registered en masse to vote for him. But thankfully, the population figures in those regions are so much lower compared to the other regions that we in the opposition have controlled the largest population concentrations in the country. That is West Coast region, KMC, North Bank region, and Banjul. The only one with a significant population concentration is LRR. That is the only one that he seems to have won, which has a significant population concentration, but nowhere near these other three. So if the opposition wins in those 4 regions, they are on a clear path to victory. But what we can learn from this is that now we need to strengthen our base in these regions, which we have as our base. I believe, from what we've seen in the past in LRR, that we will still win LRR. So if we win West Coast region, KMC, North Bank region, Banjul, and LRR, we are home and dry. And I believe that we will win LRR in spite of the cross-border voting from Casamas that's coming in to vote in that area.
And the polling stations that are questionable also are found in these areas.
Exactly. And interestingly, these are the areas where we will have a very strong supervision during next elections, because we will make sure that anybody who registers in those areas in the supplementary, we will scrutinize those election registration data.
Supplementary election
we'll scrutinize that data. And if you need to go to the revising courts, we'll go to the revising courts. We're not going to let anything pass anymore. So we're going to scrutinize that. And we're going to check that against different data we have in our system. We have got the IEC data, which we flooded into our system. And where, funnily, we find people with 115, 120, 127 years of age.
On the voting rolls.
On the voter rolls. And who, when you look at them, the lady who is 127, I think is Estatu Jalo or something like that. If you look at that lady, she can be more than 50, 55 years. But the entered has 127 years. You find people 118, 115, find all of those irregularities and crazy things in the voter rolls.
And that explains why the IEC refused to release the voters' rolls when it was supposed to be released.
Exactly. But now we have them and we're going through them with a fine comb. And we're going to check all of that. We're going to do what is required. And we're going to check everything that comes in the supplementary registration. And we're going to check. And on the day of voting, if you show up with a voter card, which says you're 127 years old and you look like a 60-year-old, you will not vote. You will not vote because that's fraud. So we're waiting for all of these things. Other people might not be able to stop, but those people too know that this Barrow government has been using them. There are foreigners who have been registered here, and we know them. But they have been registered. We cannot do much about some of those people, but they know for themselves. These are the people who suffered from the road clearance here. These are the people who suffered from so many different things in the country, and they know that this government is only using them as electoral cattle.
You know, Lamin, talk about this UDP knowing this huge influx of non-Gambians voting in our elections. this is not rhetorical. The petition to the Supreme Court is replete with evidence-based data to show this is not a Gambian.
Yeah.
To show people have been registered outside of the legal registration periods.
Yeah.
People have been registered on days that registration has been closed.
Exactly, or before it started.
Yeah, I remember one person, when that petition was being put together, a lawyer made a comment. He says, this is incontrovertible evidence.
Yeah.
When lawyers say this is incontrovertible evidence, you know you're going to win.
Yeah.
But the Supreme Court did its duty to borrow and just failed to adjudicate on that petition on a flimsy technicality.
Yeah.
Now, let's move on to the health sector. But what would have been interesting if there was a question in this survey, two questions actually, that says, ask Gambians, do you trust the IEC to conduct free, fair, transparent elections? Question one. Question two, do you trust the judiciary to adjudicate fairly based on the merits of the law? That would have been revealing.
Yeah, and to a certain extent, the first question about IEC was dealt with in the perception of vote integrity, election integrity.
Yeah.
52% said they don't trust this government to ensure election integrity.
And that is IEC.
That's IEC. So that in effect, they're saying that we do not trust this government and IEC to conduct free and fair elections, which is very good.
And
but as you said, it would have been good to hear them pronounce themselves on their perception of the judiciary doing the right thing and to judge the cases on merit, not on technicalities, and to hear election petitions to sustain democracy. That would have been interesting to hear. But again, we think we know what the population thinks about that, and we will take from this survey the lessons that we think are important, and we'll work on them, like to see where our weak areas are, how we can work harder on that, and how we sustain our lead in the areas where we have a clear lead, and to be able to make sure that we target our election messaging and campaigning in accordance with what is on the ground.
Good.
So although we do not have entire confidence in this poll because we know it has flaws, we still will not dismiss it. We will use the information that is in there to our advantage.
It provides useful insights.
Exactly. Yeah. There are things that could be better, but we will use what we have in there to focus and target our campaign better. Yeah.
Now the final one, and we are getting short of time. This 5-point agenda number 4. It's public health security, pandemic containment, and social protection. When this 5-point agenda was being crafted in 2020, it's actually 2019, 2020. In that 2-year period, these are the issues that face the country's healthcare sector. There were 9 of them. Now, all 9 have deteriorated with time. 5 years later, we have a healthcare system that is dysfunctional. We have a healthcare system that does not have the basics necessary to provide good primary health care to citizens.
I would say even more dysfunctional because it was dysfunctional already.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, these 9 items, we can compress them into 3. 3. One of them is to save time. One of them, the biggest one, is the improvement of health facilities and the introduction of social protection to the vulnerable people. The second one is to upgrade the basic social services and provide health insurance and pension schemes to people. The third one is to formulate and implement appropriate healthcare financing mechanisms with strengthened cost recovery. And the fourth one is the conditions of service of healthcare facilities and the infrastructure of the healthcare system, hospitals, health referral hospitals, regional health centers, other health centers around the country. All of these things put together need to be upgraded to reach minimum standards where you can confidently say Gambia is back to providing primary health care to its citizens. We used to provide primary health care to citizens during Jawara's time.
Absolutely.
And we used to have people coming from West Africa, all over West Africa, to come and use our health facilities. We have lost that.
Yeah.
I have a case where a relative was in the hospital last week. It was not a planned visit to the hospital. But the point is, went to the hospital, got operated on, and when he left, after they discharged him, they didn't give him anything, no medication, no bandages and other things like alcohol to treat the wound so that it doesn't become septic. They released him like that. He came to a regional center, couldn't get any of those things in that regional center, and then went back to CRR, couldn't get it anywhere in CRR, and we ended up sourcing it from here, from Banjul, to send it. And it took 3 days for that to happen. 3 days in which it was risky that he could have been septic because of lack of treatment. But we got those things for him and or her, and thank God the individual is recovering. Now, when you talk to people about the healthcare sector in this country, the government jumps and says there is nothing wrong with our healthcare system. Everything you need is in our hand. No, our healthcare system has collapsed. Yeah. And the sooner we accept that it has collapsed, so we can put structures in place to rejuvenate it, the better for the country. For the president to say, no, there is nothing wrong with our healthcare system. You diasporans, you can come and get treatment in our healthcare system on the one hand, and on the other hand, he's flying his own people abroad, mainly to India and Turkey, for medical care. He takes his own mother, with all due respect to her, to Dakar.
And Turkey.
And Turkey. Yeah. Now, we Gambians have to realize that when you start talking like that, you are actually turning untruthful things to truthful things. And like they say...
At least trying to do that.
Yes, you're trying to do that. Yeah. To convince people, no, what my detractors are telling me is not true, this is what is true. But your actions speak louder than the words that you use, because you are flying your own people to India and Turkey. You are flying your mom to, transporting your mom to Senegal and to Turkey for that same medical care that you say can be provided to diasporans in this country. The sooner we move away from this ostrich syndrome, ostrich
syndrome of burying your head in the sand,
of burying our heads in the sand on our country's problems, the better for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you also had some experience during the Kayaf by-election.
Exactly.
On the healthcare system.
I mean, those are the litany of woes we have in this country. Every single person who has had an experience with the health sector in this country over the past couple of years will tell you the same things. I said it here before, we had some of our colleagues in the Kayaf by-elections were involved in a road accident. Yeah. We took them to Masakonko Health Center. Even something as simple as balms that they use to massage them were not available. We had to go and buy them in the pharmacies. Every little thing they needed there to provide treatment for them had to be bought in the pharmacies. They had nothing. I again, doff my hat to the medical personnel there. They were very professional, they were very helpful, they were doing their best to accommodate and help our people. But you can do so much anyway, because you can do only what you have. They didn't have the facilities, they didn't have the medication. They didn't have anything in there. And to compound it all, when we try to evacuate our colleagues to Banjul to have better medical assessment, to have MRIs or scans, etc., which they didn't have, of course, in Mansakonko, we were told that they can only refer our patients to Farafenni. That's their referral hospital. Yeah. So, but Farafenni is the same problems. If you take Farafenni, you have to come back all this way again. So, unfortunately, that's what the conditions of service are here. Mm. So we were trying to get ambulances driven in from Greater Banjul area to go pick them up, to bring them back to Banjul here for that service. And we started calling around some of the clinics that have ambulances, the private clinics. The first one we got was $18,000, they told us. The cheapest we got was $15,000 to go to Mansakonko and pick our patients and bring them here.
If you don't have that,
yeah,
you won't get refunded.
How many people can afford that in this country? Fortunately, in our case, the prognosis was that they were not that badly affected. They could travel in the normal sedan cars, and they were brought here. It was a bit scary because, when you had a kind of injuries, you don't want to risk bringing them, in these cars because they could have internal injuries we don't see, internal bleeding we don't see. So, but again, fortunately for us, they came here, they got here, they're still under treatment to show how serious the accident was, but there was nothing available to them there. This is what you go through.
Not in Mansakonko, not in Farafenni.
Not in Mansakonko, in Farafenni, certainly not in Buyam, etc. So we had to bring them all the way here. And 2 days ago, I was at home. A friend of mine called me. He went through some medical scare. He had a medical scare, and he was taken to a private clinic, I have to say. And then they couldn't afford the cost. He went to a public facility. And they inserted a catheter for this person to be able to deal with his issue. When he was stabilized and was released to go home, he went home and they told him they had to change the catheter every now and then. But something as simple as a lubricant to aid them to, the person didn't get it.
Yeah.
So a private nurse was there helping him with the situation. They called me, said, look, there's a nurse here, and he says we have to change the catheter now, but he needs lubricant. She needs a lubricant. Can you get us? I said, well, I don't know exactly what it's all about. But I go to the pharmacy. I went to the pharmacy, and there was a very good lady there. I told her, look, I've got a friend who needs medical attention. It's got inside a catheter for him, which has to be changed every now and then, and they need lubricant to do it. Do you have anything you can propose? And they proposed something to me, which I bought and took it to that person. Now, I said to myself, somebody who's been through that, if the hospitals don't have even that simple ointment or gel or whatever it's called to give that person to help him in that situation, and at the pharmacy, that costs $600.
Yeah.
So how many people can afford something like that? In the hospital, they have that. You get a little bit, you put it in some container for him, like you do with the medication. They come in bulk. They give it to them in small amounts for what they need. If you have a container, whatever, containing that gel, maybe you can get some ointment or gel, I don't know whatever it's called. Excuse my ignorance on that. Give him some in another container that the person can take home and they can use. But now you have to get even that
in the pharmacy.
And basically, the doctors and medical personnel are there to do their best, but they are constrained because there's nothing they can do. Government is not providing medication or other facilities to help them do their job. If that were there, I'm sure those doctors or nurses or whatever who were there, they would have given them something. Yeah. But they can't. I sympathize with them. But that's where we are. And yet this is the government that tells us, Now we're going to do medical insurance, and you wouldn't have to pay a dime when you go to hospital, give all the treatment and the medication, and they made people get those medical insurance certificates. And nothing has happened. If anything, they increased the consultation fee from $25 to $100. In addition to that, they tell you now if you don't do scans, all this are expensive. Yes, there's cost recovery to a certain extent. But the government is supposed to chip in. So a UDP government, not only we will provide those facilities, but we would at the beginning, because you cannot say some of this is until you go in there and see how much money you've got left in the state coffers. But we would provide, for example, those kind of facilities free of charge to the elderly, free of charge to the very young, free of charge to women who are expecting, pregnant women.
To vulnerable groups.
Yes, to vulnerable groups, but particularly these three categories particularly. But you go beyond that, depending on how much money we find in the state coffers or not, and how much money we can mobilize quickly, because I don't think we'll find anything there.
We won't find a whole lot there.
Yeah. They've already worked out even with the base of the vault. But a government should be able to provide free medical services for the elderly who have given their part and contributed their part to this country. You look after them when they are old. We should be able to provide free medical services to the elderly, free medical services to our ex-servicemen who put their lives on the line for this country. Free medical services, I would say, to our medical personnel as well, who put their lives on the line. You saw them during the COVID pandemic. Some of them died. They put their lives on the line for this country. You would tell me, okay, what about the nurses and the soldiers and the police? Yes, gradually you get it for all of those people. But we have to do it in stages, but we have to be able to provide for all of these people. We have to provide for the young, the kids of up to 8, 10 years old should be able to have free medical care. Medical care, education, and feeding are human rights. The government should be able to provide that for the citizen, and it doesn't take a whole lot of money to do that for basic primary care. You can do that. You just have to reprioritize the expenditure of the government and do that for the country.
Yeah.
And the UDP government will do that. That's why we have this in our 5-point agenda. So anyway.
I think we'll stop there. I think next week we have to come back to this and do it in the...
Oh, the time is gone already?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
In the local
then
languages.
Next week we'll do this in the local languages, yes. Very important.
This is important for...
Absolutely.
For our local language viewers to see.
Yeah.
Our healthcare system, our education system, our infrastructure, all need to be invested in.
Yeah.
All need to be invested in as strategic state assets. This government hasn't had the vision to do that.
No.
These are just regarded as basic inconveniences that need to be managed on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So these are health education infrastructure are strategic assets, and they should be treated as such.
For me, it reminds me of a country I lived in for 11 years, Tunisia. Tunisia put 54%, don't say 52, but 54% of the national budget in education, health and agriculture. They have turned the desert green. They don't import food. They produce all the food they need and even export some. I like buying the Tunisian dates here, acquired taste. The Tunisian dates from here, the Glenur, the almonds, just name it up. Even the butter or the margarine.
Tunisia has turned itself around.
So they have turned the agricultural sector around. The education sector is huge, highly educated population. Medical sector, clinics everywhere.
Water everywhere.
Yeah. They were exporting doctors to South Africa after Mandela came to power. So, and this is a poor, dry country with no natural resources. But just simply they prioritize their budget properly. When people are buying military hardware, Bourguiba used to say, in 15, 20 years, we'll see who is better off.
Yeah.
He refused to buy military hardware, and put it in education, health, and agriculture. It paid off.
As priorities.
We can do the same. Medical care is virtually free in Tunisia, in the public hospitals. So, we can do it.
Okay. I mean, they just said we are out of time.
Okay.
To you viewers and listeners who keep giving me feedback about the color of my shirt, it's not my fault. It's because the Eco TV guys will put a microphone over my shirt and it pulls my shirt backwards. So blame them. Tell them to stop doing that to me.
I think it has been taken care of now.
Yeah, they say today is okay, but the two previous ones, people were questioning, what's wrong with the color of your shirt?
For once, you can say something about these wonderful guys, because they've been doing amazingly well.
Amazingly
so
well.
at least that one didn't go right, but it's been corrected. And that's what's so great about it.
For me, honestly, I don't mind my color to go up so long as the message is correct.
Exactly.
So,
but some people look at that instead of listening to the message.
Yeah.
So it's important to have everything right.
Good. Thank you, Eco TV guys. We'll see you next Thursday. And like I said, inshallah, when we come back, we'll do this same program in the local languages.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much for viewers. Thank you, Lamin, and thank you for the studio and the control room. Goodbye.